All right, so here we are uh, at my presentation of my 2 years in the Peace Corps. Now, I want to ask you on a solemn note, do you know what tomorrow is? What date? And what important thing happened on that date? Yes, he was JFK. John F. Kennedy was assassinated, shot in Dallas, right, on the 22nd. And that was a Friday. I looked on my calendar. It was a Friday of 1963. And I remember myself, I'll tell you, I was teaching. It was my second year of teaching on Long Island after graduating in 1962. I was teaching in Levittown, New York, Long Island. I was a junior high school teacher teaching general science. I had gone to SUNY New Paltz, no, excuse me, SUNY Oswego. At that time, it was the College of Education in those years. During my sophomore year, it became the State University at Oswego, and they introduced science, English, other secondary programs, and I was enrolled in the secondary science teaching program. That Friday, I was teaching junior high school, seventh grade, and the principal got online and said that the buses are coming to take the children home, and school was closing. And it got around that, of course, the president was shot. He hadn't expired, he hadn't died until I was driving home from Levittown, driving back to my parents' home where I was living in Astoria. And I turned on the news, and the news came that he died at Parkland Hospital. And for that whole Thanksgiving week, I'm sure many of you were glued, unfortunately, to the television to see uh, the final resting. Well, the people speaking and what was happening at graveside. Uh, One graveside at the National Cemetery, which I have gone to, and I'm sure many of you, if you visited Washington, D.C., have gone there too. There's a wonderful museum in Boston, the JFK Museum, excellent museum to see, which I have gone to and visited. So, to tell you about why I joined the Peace Corps, I have to say it was partly because of his speech or his talk first to the Michigan students. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago that he was running for president against Richard Nixon, and he was going through the country, and and I read it, he stopped at Michigan University at 2 a.m. 10,000 students were at the Union, and he spoke about a commitment that the youth of America should follow or try to follow. This program, by the way, this program is not unusual. There are religious groups that have sent missionaries around the world, and people have gone overseas to help communities in various countries. And so JFK's idea is not a new idea. Thank you, Dave. Where was I? Okay. Betsy, where was I? Yeah, he came to Michigan and he spoke the words that he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And from that, about 1,000 college seniors, I guess, graduating from Michigan, signed on the program. It got started, and when he became president, he signed it into what's the term? He signed up as that's happened. The president signed it officially, and in 1963 now, the Peace Corps program started. And Linda, right here in the front row, and her husband Peter spoke 2 weeks ago about, and David spoke for Linda, and spoke because she went to Ghana, which was one of the first group of volunteers that went to Ghana. The other country was Tanzania, which is now Tanzania. The Philippines was one of the earliest ones as well, and in fact, it's has the largest group of volunteers since it's been going over. So Group One went probably within that year or maybe a half a year later. I was in Group 12, which was a very early group. Now, I think after that week of watching television about JFK and knowing about him and the program and junior high school teaching, you know, it was good, but I liked the children, but I wanted to do something. I hadn't traveled overseas ever as a young high school student or child. My parents were tied to a store in Astoria, a drugstore, and so we never traveled. And I wanted to see the world, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to help people, and I had some. Of course, I had some training and teaching, and that was one of the earliest programs that they decided to send to the countries that invited them. They didn't force their way over, and they didn't want the volunteers to be, if you remember reading The Ugly American, they were sent over there to join with fellow people of that country and work with them, co-teach or work in nursing, work in the community, and get to know the people. And most important, try to learn the language, go to training to learn the language, to get knowledgeable in the methods of teaching. And I felt comfortable about that because I had 2 years. I had a good science chairman who thought I was a pretty good teacher. And I thought I would apply to the Peace Corps. I sent in my application, and maybe some of you have thought about it and sent in applications or thought about it, but I sent it in not realizing that I would be selected. But I was, after government people came in through Astoria, and because you had to write down a list of friends, stores, they came to check on. My friends were saying, "Artie, what is going on?" I was just interviewed about what I think of Artie and stores and all around in the neighborhood. Well, I probably passed, but a little did I know I would have some trouble in training. Being a New Yorker and Jewish, we had about 75 volunteers that were selected for that Group 12. And, they were from all over the country. And in a way, during the training period of 2 months, they thought that Artie was too abrasive, and just talk too much. And they said, and so the psychologist said, Artie, I don't know, but I don't think you're going to do well in the Philippines, and you're going over there as a new person. And if you start yelling at them and directing them well, anyway, I said, all right, I'll cool it. But I think it was really not the Filipinos. The Filipinos became wonderful friends. And it was probably some of the volunteers that were coming from the northern part of Minnesota, and they never saw a New Yorker or heard a New Yorker. So that was the relationship during training. So it was 2 months of training. So let me, all right, so here's the map of the Philippines. Why the Philippines? It had a program, an education program, teaching program for English, science, and mathematics. They wanted volunteers to co-teach those 3 subjects in the secondary schools, not in the elementary schools. There was a high school, a young woman who was in the high school in the town where I was situated, and she helped with English and mathematics. She's from Red Hook, by the way. I also want to tell you that my best friend from college, his name is Dave Getter. He graduated with me in 1962, and he went to, he was an advisor at a college getting his master's program. And at the same time I applied, he applied to Venezuela and spent 2 years in Venezuela, the same 2 years, and we kept in contact. Dave Getter is from Brooklyn, and a very bright guy, and a good friend. Let's see, how am I going? Let's see, how will I? Betsy, help me. Where am I? All right. So so there were training programs in different countries. And the Philippines, I broke the news to my parents. And I said, I'm going into the Peace Corps. And they said, where? Where are you going? First of all, I couldn't go into, I didn't have any, I had 3 years of French, but I got 65 in French. So it wasn't a French-speaking country I would be going to. It had to be a country where I would learn it through the 2 months of training. So there was a teaching program in the Philippines, and so I signed on. And they said, "Oh, that's probably good because we freed that country in World War II. We landed. MacArthur landed there, and the Filipinos were fighting with the American soldiers against the Japanese. So I think it's a safe country." I don't know, but it was. I was totally safe and healthy. Not really, but no. Let's not get into that part of my life there. So training began. Where is Carrie? Carrie? Yes. Do you know how to do it? All right. So we flew across the country. We gathered in Kennedy. No, it wasn't Kennedy then. It wasn't JFK. Idlewild, right? Idlewild. Being a Queens native, I should have remembered that. Idlewild. Okay. And we flew to Hilo Airport. No, I'm sorry. We flew first to Honolulu, direct. And we were all on the plane together, also with military men, because that was the beginning, somewhat the beginning of the Vietnam War. And somewhat, I might talk about that later, but okay. And we had our classes there, a part of the university there or college. Could you go to the next slide, please, Sharon? Okay, I don't know if you could see me. This is the plane arriving in Hilo Airport. I was wearing dark black glasses. I'm right in the front. That's me. A very good friend, by the way. Not he was a graduate of Columbia University in 1964. He was 2 years younger than I am, and this is him right here, Howard Rake, and he was an Orthodox Jew, lived down the street from me, but I didn't know him well because my family belonged to a different synagogue, and I met him at the airport. I must have seen the list of volunteers, and it said Astoria. And I said, Astoria, another guy from Astoria. And sure enough, he was there during the 2 years I was there. And in fact, well, more about that, I guess. Actually, I could tell you that now. We were both assigned to the college. It was NLTC, stands for Northern Luzon Teachers College. As I said, he graduated from Columbia, another very brilliant man in his youth, and he was going over to teach and help in secondary English. And there were other volunteers, but no other volunteers until a year later when a math teacher came to join the three of us at this Northern Luzon Teachers College. Would you turn to the next? Please turn to the next slide. Okay, so in Hawaii, this was the training center, and the classes were held there in technical, in your subject area. The doctors were there, and this was the men's sleeping accommodations. I didn't have any pictures of the inside. It was pretty bad. Metal barracks, and we had about 75 starting volunteers that came that day, and we ended up with going over with 63. There were some chose to go home, and some were deselected for various reasons. And so go to the next slide, Sharon. Of course, being a science teacher, I was interested in going to the Hawaii National Parks, the volcanoes, and it was a bus trip for all the volunteers to walk around the parks. Here I am sitting on the volcano, the remnants of the flow, the lava flow. Okay, Sharon? Next slide. Oh, go. Just do that again. Okay. Now, the best 2 weeks, the hardest 2 weeks of training were 2 weeks down in Waipio Valley. And today that valley is essentially changed back to its natural environment. But for training, the country in those 3 years prior to us going there for training, they built an Asian village where instructors were there to, I'll talk about that soon. Okay, so Waipio Valley, in order to get down there, the bus took us to Waipio Valley from Hilo, and we had to get off and walk down that trail and then eventually get to the stream into the valley of Waipio. go to the next slide. Did you skip one? No. All right. My wife doesn't like this picture. And for obvious reasons, this was a chef, Hawaiian, who, wanted to show us, if we needed to cook and get chickens and eat, we had to, slaughter the animal. And here I am again. The only ones who did it were the women. My friend Howard and Howard, I don't know what happened to his wrist. I don't remember it. But that's, you see, we were put into this group of 5 volunteers, and we were each given a chicken for that evening and food. All right. So, if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, maybe save till the end. Save it till the end. Next slide, Sharon. Okay. No, you moved too fast. Oh, go back one. I don't know how to do that. It's the opposite. The opposite side. What you doing here?
Pressing this.
Back space. Right there. Yeah, backspace is that. Okay. This is another good friend of here, Stan Ifshin, and our language teacher. All right, language. In training, there were 3 groups of volunteers divided into 3 language groups. Today, the national language is Tagalog. And the other 2 languages are predominantly, I read the Ilocano has 10, a lot of people up in the northern province of Luzon. Luzon is the biggest island. No, it's not the biggest, but Luzon is the big island. Mindanao is down here. Mindanao is in the south. And Cebu, the island where Magellan was killed, is right in the center. But there are a lot of islands in the Philippines. And so Luzon. The white arrow is where I eventually went with Howard, up here in the northern province of Ilocos, part of Ilocana, northern Ilocos, which is right at the end of Luzon. And Manila is down here, Mindanao, and the Zamboanga is here, and Cebu City is here. And so there are 3 languages: Cebuano, which is mainly spoken in the central part of the country, Ilocano up in the north of Manila, and the south. What did I say? Cebu. Oh, no. Cebuano and Tagalog was in the central part where population and the government was located. Of course, the English is the spoken language in the schools, except for elementary school. Students at the college level have to take Spanish, English. They have classes in Tagalog and they speak Ilocano. So there are four language classes. It's very difficult for students, but they're very. They work hard. Those that go to the college. All right. So she's Tony. Tony, our language teacher in Ilocano. Next one, Sharon. Other language teachers, the chef and myself, in front of a longhouse. A longhouse is a house that's pretty long, of course. It's but it's not in the Philippines, but another Asian country. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. Go ahead. Okay, this is the Ilocano training group. I think you probably can find me. That's me. Howard is there. Stan Ifshin, uh, language teacher, language teacher, language teacher, and we were all stationed in various parts of northern Luzon. Two of us were stationed in Ilocos Norte. Next slide. Okay, as you can see, there was a working taro patch. Taro is like a potato, a sweet potato. Taro is carbohydrate, and it's filmed there, or it's grown there in the Philippines as well in Hawaii. And the water buffalo is the most important animal in the Philippines because it's a work animal. And here is one of the instructors that has this rope on this water buffalo. They're very tame, and they called for a volunteer. Who do you think volunteered? Go to the next one. So there I am sitting on the water buffalo, uh, and in the muddy field, and so that's it. A water buffalo, a very tame animal, and it's the work animal in the Philippines. Go to the next one. And here's Waipio Valley looking from the ocean, looking back. And one of the rooms for study. Who's that macho guy there? Anyway, sorry. These pictures, of course, were sent back to my parents, and I've been showing them for a number of years since then. All right. Oh, here it is. Here is the Waipio Valley, Black Sand Beach. Why? Volcanoes. It's a volcanic island, and it's black. And for 2 days during that 2-week period down in Waipio, we were sent out, one by ourselves, to the beach to manage and stay there. So bringing, like a straw mat. I forgot the net. I forgot a mosquito net. And you can imagine what it was like that whole night. I didn't sleep at all. What? There's no town. This is not in the Philippines yet. This is in Hawaii. These slides are from training on the island of Hawaii. Oh, I better move. Okay. I'm sorry because there's anyway, that was a horrible. And I learned my lessons. I walked back and everyone looked at me. I had bites all over me. Bites. All right. We had sports. We had some movement. We didn't swim, but we played volleyball. And this was a demonstration of one of the very popular cockfighting in the Philippines, and also probably, I think, in other countries too. They didn't have any blades on the back of their feet. And the loser, of course, has a meal for the night. And the winner of the cockfighting earns money because there's betting, a lot of betting at night when these occur in all over the Philippines. Okay, next slide. All right, he was our director, Maurice Bean, and here are the volunteers listening to him, and we're getting near the end of this 2-week period down in Waipio Valley. Next one. And here I am walking out of, we had a walkout. And that's what I had. We didn't have sleeping bags, but we had, a rubber mat and blankets during those years. And we were saying goodbye to the language instructors at the airport. We were flying from Hilo to Honolulu for rest and recreation, or rest and just recovery after the 2 months of training. All right, next slide. And here we are flying to flying to the Philippines. And wait. All right, just want to. Of course, you do see the soldiers also going on the airplane too. There's an Air Force base there and a very large naval base in the Philippines. Clark Air Force Airport and Subic Bay. All right, next slide. All right, so here's a good picture of the islands where the Cebuanos went. Mindanao, also speaking a Cebuano, but of course, there is a lot of Moros, Muslim. This is Muslim area, and presented problems to the Philippines over the years, still does. And we were up here. Okay, next. And we flew to Manila Airport. I suspect this was, of course, 1960 September. We got there September 64, right? And I suspect it's much nicer now and more modern. And these next pictures are, I'll go ahead, let's see what the next group is on. We stayed in Manila for additional training. And 2 weeks in Manila, get organized and find out where we were going. And we had a trip from Manila up to the mountain province to Baguio, which is the summer resort, and up in is cool and much nicer. And when you go up into mountain province by bus, this was typical of the bus travel anywhere in the Philippines. Things attached to the roof of the bus, very crowded, and the volunteers, the Ilocano volunteers are there. The women there, those four there, and I guess I took the picture. Go ahead, next picture. And these are the homes of the Igorots. And there are many different minority groups up in the mountains. And that's another whole talk. But I'll show you some of these pictures of the people. There was a volunteer up in the village that we were going to see. Go ahead, next. All right, we were coming, and this was the day we were there. Beautiful children, and well known for their wraps, the women. And these were purchased in Baguio because it's the wood, very common wood in the Philippines. Monkey, who said that? Sharon, oh, thank you. Monkey pod wood. And so they would make, the different minority groups up there would make clothing to sell in Baguio and also the wood objects. This is a Philippine game, Sungka. It was sort of written up by a Spanish priest. By the way, there were 500 years before Americans came to the Philippines that the country was dominated by the Spanish. Okay, next picture. Just now, these are just very quick pictures of the people. They were never dominated by the Spanish. Spanish couldn't get up into the mountains, nor the Japanese. The Americans got up there to help them, but during the war, that was uncharted territory for Spanish and Japanese. Go on. Okay, traditional Igorot dance. There was fighting between the different minority groups up there, and they were headhunters as well. And so, but I don't think it's going on now, or even then. Go ahead, turn to the next one. Group of men also wearing their traditional loincloth and holding their gongs held by the jawbones of probably a person that was killed in the past. And go on. Next one, Sharon, please. A dance to the honor of the Peace Corps volunteer. He was up there. He was up there for 2 years. Got to know them, worked with them, helped them. Turn to the next one. And at the end of the dance festival for us, there was a meal provided, by the elders. And that's that. Okay, go on. Now, I don't know. We need someone to move to my town on that. Let me try. Or what's that? Any questions while we're? Oh, Carrie, could you go to the third one, please? Questions while she's doing that? Because the third one is essentially the place where I stayed.
They were cooking there for you. What was that food like that they cooked for you?
You really want to know? Well, no, one up. Part two. The chicken, a pig would be roasted in the ground on hot rocks, and I don't want to say it because Lucy is here. Lucy is a resident here. I don't want you to know about what animal is a. Okay, all right. Oh, you're there. All right. So Loag, as you know, it's up here. It's the city capital now of Ilocos Norte. Ilocos Sur is the province right south of it. Okay, next slide. All right, to get into Loag, by the way, there's a dry season and a rainy season. That's it. You can imagine that this is the dry season. This is Loag River, and the women are washing their clothes at the shoreline. Next slide. Okay. Children swim in it. Oh, post office. Oh, what? I'm sorry. Post office and government house with the fire department underneath a fire tree. Speaking about mail, well, these are the airmail letters were sent by my parents, and I had postcards, and then I mailed postcards or letters too. There's a picture of an Igorot postcard on a postcard that I sent to my niece and nephew in Chicago. Kept in touch with them throughout the 2 years. Sometimes they got worried. I got a new Peace Corps in the Manila got a telegram from my mother. We haven't heard from Artie. What happened to him? What happened? And, it's just delays, and I get involved and difficult to write. Cinder block, major component of building, other than the wooden cinder blocks. Next. Oh, go back one, please. This is a kalesa, very typical of transportation in the cities in the Philippines. Horse-drawn carriage and you just hop in the back, give them directions in Ilocano, and they'll take you to the town main street. All right, later in the second year, these little jeepneys, small jeeps came from Japan for better transportation. This is Main Street, probably now paved now and very modern. Next one. Or I'll stop right there. Yes. Yes. English is the medium of instruction, and because of the Americans, English was very important and taught in the schools in high school and introduced in high school and college. Kalesa, the movie theater. I didn't go to the movies here. I waited till I got into Manila, but they were just as bad. Uh, Next slide. Okay, the fruit market. Oh, my first taste of mangoes were in the Philippines. Oh, well, mangoes, we ate mangoes when they were green and when they were ripe, all year round with salt when they were green, cut up and sweet. Oh boy. And I had a house girl. She went into the market for shopping, but I was able to speak fairly well, not as well as Howard. Howard was incredibly able to learn the language. By the way, language training in the Philippines or for the Philippines was one-to-one, totally verbal. We didn't, they didn't care about writing, but we just had to learn, hello, goodbye, and that just expanded as 2 years went on for even myself. Next picture. Clay cooking stoves. We didn't have, I lived in a house. The one thing that the Filipino government wanted to do, they had to, yes, they wanted volunteers to come, but they had to give something back. And they provided housing. And for the teachers, especially the ones who were teaching in the major cities, they contacted professors or master teachers in the colleges. And Howard and I lived in a very nice house for the 2 years. Okay, it's predominantly a Catholic country because of the Spanish. And this is a favorite spot in Locos Norte in Lalag. Next slide. Here's one of my classes on a field trip. Actually, it was there. They were taking me there. I mean, I'm here. She's living in Florida. There's so many of these students now, by the way, because of internet. I am in touch with them. I get emails from them and I write to them. I see pictures of them. Many of them are doing very well. Many of them are former principals, superintendents in Canada, in the United States, California. They're all over. And this was a class. And these are the juniors. It was a junior class there at the college. Next slide, please. Okay, this was the house I lived in with Howard. And houseboy, 2 houseboys, because the woman, Mrs. Salas, and her husband, Frederico Salas, no longer alive, very wonderful family, lived in this house. And we had a walk to the college. Turn to the next slide. Oh, my houseboy and my housegirl eating sugar cane. And we went on trips on the weekends, and they showed me where they came from. Next slide. Glorious, a fabulous place for me to go down, have a bottle of San Miguel with some of my high school students, not high school, college students. And I even went serenading with a group of men to sing along to a girlfriend of one of the boys. So I remember that very well. But, oh, and here's, go ahead, Gloria. So primary school, flag raising every morning. Mr. Santos was my advisor. Well, he was like not the CEO of the school, but just one person below it. A wonderful man. And the class of students here with the instructor, and that's the front of the college. Next, please. All right. Besides teaching, what I did was I co-coached. I co-taught and I coached. There was a basketball team, and every year there was a lot of sporting events. They love sports, and so there was all the provinces in the northern region had a large three-day event where there was track, basketball, and this is the team that I coached. And here we are. There's a parade of. We came back, and I have to tell you, we won. I really did. So it was a marvelous feeling. I wasn't the tallest player on the team. My friend Jerry, this guy was super. Anyway, next slide. Oh, and we traveled to with the Philippine Airlines to where the meet was being held. It would be moved around in different towns. Next. Okay. I didn't wear, for those who were here 2 weeks ago, you saw me wearing, does anyone remember it? The name? Barong, B-A-R-O-N-G, which is shirt in Tagalog, Barong Tagalog. So it's named after. And so this is the national shirt. And at events like this, it was an assembly of, these students were all seniors. They were graduating in 1966. They went to everywhere. You know, some stayed in the Philippines, some went to the Hawaii, some got married, and so forth. Next slide. Oh, Fiesta time. Fiesta time was always happening in the country. Oh, I still have 10 minutes. Okay, great. And I love to dance. And, you know, they had a volunteer, of course, to get into the fiesta. And so when it was time to see some traditional dances, I practiced it and with the women. And this was a very nice evening for Howard and I, and for the people of Laog, so celebrating a fiesta, which lasted a couple of days. They love their parties, by the way. Go on. Some of my students, they said, Artie, they didn't say that, but they said they had different names for me, very polite names. And they took me to the beach, and we had a picnic, and these are all my students. She's living in Texas. Fabulous, by the way, a fabulous ping pong player. Not then, probably, but when she came to Texas, she played a lot of ping pong, and she is super. I saw her, you know, when they emailed me, you know, with awards that she has won. Go on to the next picture. And so we had a lot of fun. It was a pleasure being with them. I can't tell you how much I miss them. I miss my 2 years. And go on to the next picture. Now, out in the far boondocks, away from the city, these are the nipa huts. These are the nipa huts. And where the poorer people would be living. And those stoves that you saw in the market, those were the stoves that they used to cook their food. Okay? And I'm telling you, aren't they beautiful? They're very nice. And they were always so sweet and wanting to see me. And go on to the next one. Now, these are Salises. Mrs. Salis and her husband, Federico. He had a business. She was an English teacher at the college, exceptionally good teacher. And here's Howard, and here's the mathematics volunteer that came in the second year. Now, the reason why I was on this hike with them, but the reason why he's in this picture is that he moved in with Howard. Howard and I were two different, though we were from the same neighborhood, we had our troubles. Howard was extremely fluent in Ilocano. I was not. And so there was a lot of comparison between myself and Howard, speaking the language to friends. And I felt, I didn't pick up the language as well as he did. And so it came down that he and I, but being Jewish, by the way, we celebrated holidays in the Salises' home. We showed them Hanukkah. We talked about it. We traveled to Manila to go to the synagogue for services. But Howard and I wasn't being myself. I had a different group of friends. And I had these sports people. I played tennis. I played basketball, but I wasn't that fluent in the language. And so I spoke to Howard. I said, and I had to speak to Mrs. Salas, and I was very sorry to leave them. But I still lived in the same town, and saw him. But I broke away from it. I made that move. Made that decision, and Peace Corps said, okay, find another house. And we found another teacher who was just around the corner, down the block, and I lived with that woman until we left the Philippines. And this is the girl from New Red Hook who taught at the high school for the 2 years. And she, Howard, and I, we traveled to Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Japan during our vacation. The first summer of the school year, we had to stay in country. The second summer, we had to have a project in some other part of the country. So I went down to Mindanao to a workshop with teachers volunteers and teachers who were there. So that was my summer project. And anyway, that's Mr. Salas. Oh, and that's Mr. Salas's Jeep. We didn't have any transportation. Okay, I had no vehicle. No one had a vehicle in the area but the staff did. The staff members. Go on to the next picture. That's on that hike. I wasn't shooting at anything. I was just shooting into. Next. And go on. Okay, the last picture is I had an opportunity by the way, he was elected and he came from Surat, next town to Loag. He was from Ilocos Norte. He's the former president of the country, President Fernando Marcos. He's an Ilocano, and they got about 97% of the election up in northern provinces. And his wife, Imelda, at a sporting event, and I was there. In fact, just briefly, I'll tell you, I took Sharon. I came home, found Sharon after 2 years of graduate school in 1968, and met her, and married her in 1968 in August of 68. 6 years later, I took her back to the Philippines, to Loag, to Mrs. Salas, to meet students who had, well, not the students because they had already graduated, but she saw the place where I lived, and we traveled down to Mindanao. I think she'll never forget that. Okay. Can you go to the next one? Oh, well, that's it, gang. There's another group, but Do you want to see some of the sites in the Philippines? A few? Can you go to the next very third part? This is very quick. We'll go through it quick. No one goes to the Philippines. You try to get a trip, no one goes there. But if you go with I'll take you there if you want to go. All right, Mount Mayon, the perfect cone. All right, this is a village that was covered with the volcanic soil. Some children there. No longer the village. Lake Taal. By the way, the Philippines, is in the Ring of Fire. And there are a lot of volcanoes all over the country. And it's tough when they have a volcanic eruption. And of course, typhoons hit that country a lot during the wet, rainy season. Next. All right. Being a Christian country, this is the largest church in Manila, Quiapo. The Quiapo Church, and the 14 steps. This is the 14 steps. All right, I went to next one. Oh, trip to Banca. I went on a Banca trip, a canoe trip down the stream to go to Pangsanan Falls, a scenic spot. This was during vacation time that first year. Go on. Those are the falls, and he had to get out of the banca to guide myself. I was there by myself with him. Go on. And here is the paddler. Okay, next. And then I traveled also to Corregidor. Where that was the last stand of the Americans before they had that death march from northward from that lower part of Manila. Go on. Embassy. Okay.
She's going fast.
Huh? Fast. All right. Well, I know. Wait. Huh?
Give me this for a second. If anyone is here for Simple Melodies, it did get moved to the classroom because I didn't know if Artie was going to go over. So if you're here for Simple Melodies, it is in the classroom. Artie, carry on.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'll do is, I don't think any questions. Make it quick. 4 minutes. Any questions? Stop me anytime you want to, of course, or have dinner with Sharon and I, and we could talk about it. Ralph.
You showed her an what do you call it? Airmail letter that your grandmother had sent you, or you had sent you. You had sent an airmail letter.
Oh, yes.
How much was the postage at that time?
The question was how much was the airmail letter at that time? Of course, if you have the internet, if you have this, you could talk to people, write email letters right? Or not an email letter. Yeah, of course. The postcard was 50 cents. This was sent to from Loag, 50 centavos. By the way, the amount of the exchange rate was $1 to 4 pesos. $1, 4 pesos. Today, $1 to 60 pesos. I checked that to just see it. So you can imagine, it's a little bit more expensive, but if you go to Asia, except for the airfare, it's relatively cheap to visit Asian countries. The airmail letter, my parents. Do you hear it? I think someone's calling me. Spam risk. I'm not answering it. It might be from the Philippines, but it wouldn't be a spam risk, by the way.
I have
11 cents. 11 cents, Ralph.
You said that you and your friend had different levels of language skills. Was it because you relied on others speaking English to you, or was it because some people don't have skill sets in language learning, or was it because a lot of people relied on practicing their English with you, so you weren't offered opportunities?
Very good, very good, very good question. That was one of the things in training that when we had an evaluation, they said, Artie, you have to practice a little bit more because the language instructor said that you're not really picking it up as quickly as some of the other Ilocano members are picking it up, like Howard and others. I was too active. I probably didn't study enough because that method of teaching a language one-to-one and listening and the afternoon, we had an hour in the morning with one teacher, the group of us that were Ilocanos, and then in the afternoon, another hour to listen to tapes and headset so we can repeat the lesson and try to improve. Anything else? Did that answer your answer? Any other questions? Does anyone have? I think Shalom Schwartz, by the way, his grandson went into the Peace Corps and has come back from it recently. So I think it was in Africa, possibly, or maybe the volunteers are now in 142 countries. They were brought back. They were brought back during COVID, except for the staff. And just recently, some number, yeah, I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, January 31st, 2023, on January 20th, 40 American volunteers went to the Philippines. And today, there are now over 9,000, in 1961, over 9,300 Peace Corps volunteers have worked alongside Filipino people. So that's it's now, I think it's over at least 10,000. So it's one of the largest groups of volunteers. Any other questions? I really enjoyed talking with you. It's not the first time, as I said, I love to talk to people when I was teaching and going into history classes. Anyway, I spoke once at the college under one of the history teachers, David Cricken. Maybe some of you know David Cricken, but yes, Ralph.
Pay the fees of your flights and so forth.
Oh, well, the government. I was given a stipend to just basically living, just peso, just if I remember, maybe 200 pesos a month. Back home, they deposited $75 every month in my bank account. So I didn't come home rich, but I came home with a lot of love from them and good feelings. That's it. So we got a stipend, but the countries, as I said, had to give housing to the volunteers at various locations and take care of it. But I had money to give to the house girl to buy food and rice 3 times a day. Who did the cooking? The house girl. Yeah. No, I did some cooking. No, I didn't. I slept on, by the way, for 2 years, I slept under a net. The bathroom was clean. The house was very clean. They were constantly sweeping, keeping the dust away. The house was very clean. I got sick. I had dysentery because there were times when I drank the water or went to a party and did not follow the rules of not drinking water, a glass. And I was thirsty. Yes, Pat.
You seem to have adjusted very easily. How did they adjust to you?
Well, yeah, I adjusted pretty well. I think because, first of all, I went to a camp for my youth. And they, how did they adjust to me? I played chess with them. In the evening, I had a neighbor. Huh? I think, I had to break in very slowly with my master teacher, that co-teacher. She was tough. She was essentially from the old school, no hands-on. That was what I brought in, hands-on activity. Creating simple things out of clay. I had to teach a mountain building or faulting. I had, teaching that idea. But my master teacher, all of the equipment was locked up. All microscopes were locked up. I had to, slowly break through that. But in the same college, there was also a campus school, just like at Oswego, just like at, I think, here in New Paltz, that you had the college, and there was also a training school. I went to student teaching, and so did that answer your question, Pat? Good enough, thank you. All right, I want to first thank you. Of course, I thank Peter and Linda for coming here again. I really think a lot of Linda being one of the first volunteers from Ghana. She was a teacher also in English and had a wonderful 2 years there. I think she even stayed a third year. That's correct. She stayed a third year. That was the opportunity. We could stay a third year. By the way, Howard went to Guam to coordinate teaching English to volunteers. He extended one more year, actually 2 more years in Guam. He was needed. He was that well versed in picking up a language, and he was very good friend. I met him at the 45th anniversary. By the way, coming up next year is the anniversary of our country, and it's going to be also our anniversary, right? 17, I figure it out, I don't know, about 64 years, the anniversary of the Peace Corps. So again, I thank you for your attention, and come up and look at the things if you wish. And by the way, of course, Kennedy was not there, and this is signed by Lyndon Johnson. Sergeant Shriver was gone after 3 years. He followed the rule that you can't stay more than 2 years, except if you extend Sergeant Shriver. And Jack Vaughn was the next advisor, or Washington. Thank you again, and enjoy the afternoon and Simple Melodies.